Welcome to the Star Wars Game Rank stream. First, take a look at look at those stars behind me. I'm not pointing the right way. Like the stars there. That's real. 27 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 28. We got 28 games. Plus a little bit more. But we got 28 games, mainly, to rank today. These are all of the games I have played. All these tabs, these are all the games. These are all the Star Wars games I have played at one time or another. Now, I know this stream is called Ranking Every Star Wars Game Ever. But that's not actually what this stream is. Sorry! I clickbaited you. You got absolutely fooled. Because if I were to rank every Star Wars game ever, it would be an impossible task. Where is the image? This is every Star Wars game ever. How would I... If you expect me to legitimately go through and rank every single one of these games, I'm sorry, but we would be here longer than a 3-hour stream, and I could not do that. For a lot of them, I would just be saying... Well, for the majority of them, really, I would just be saying, I haven't played that one. Put it in the NA category. And you don't want to watch that. I mean, that's just fluff at that point. There's no reason to do that. So... I took out all the games that I haven't played. We narrowed it down to a mere 28 games. Should we get into it? Now, the thing with X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is that it is really hard to play without a joystick. Like, using your mouse to aim the fighter is almost impossible. As well as every key on the keyboard. Okay, look at your keyboard right now. Look at your keyboard right now and imagine that every single key on that keyboard, including the numpad, including the insert home, page up, page down keys, everything on your keyboard has a designated function for this specific game. Because that's what X-Wing was like. I literally went through every key on my keyboard, pressing it just to see what it did. Some would adjust shields, some would put 20% boost to your engines, some would reverse thrusters, some would put more weapons power into your, like, everything you could possibly imagine, it did. My only memory from X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which I had on disc, of course, because games were discs, is my friend and I co-opted the game, but we were only playing one game. We were co-op, like, in person, he was handling the joystick, and I was pressing the keys. Because there were that many controls that you could basically have a co-pilot in real life for the game. And you still would be overwhelmed by how many options there were. So, insanely complex flight simulator. Insanely complex. After saying all that, now I'm saying the game is pretty good, right? But this is a tier list. This is my list. This is not the end-all, be-all list. Though it should be. Take note, LucasArts. Take note, Disney, actually, at this point. This game is a chore, as Red Princess so eloquently points out, because I never played it again. I played it with my friend that one time, and I was like, this is way too much. There's no way I'm going to be able to remember which key activates 75% shields on rear. There's no way. So it's going to be, actually, surprisingly, it's going to be a pretty low ranking. It's not going to be a D, because it was still a solidly built game, but it's going to be a C. Now, there is a game that recently came out, Star Wars Squadrons, made by EA, that is actually good. Actually a good flight simulator for casual fans, I would say. It's not like there's not like a million things you have to think about. Star Wars Squadrons is a more accessible version of what X-Wing was. Also, it's obviously new, so graphics pretty good. I think it was a 2020 game, and you can play it in VR. I want to play this game in VR so bad. So actually, even though it's a simpler, less complex game with less content, I'm going to rank it higher. It's still going to be a B, though. Because at the end of the day, flight simulators, there's only so much you can do with a flight simulator. Like, flight simulators are fine as far as they go. But I prefer more content. I prefer more diverse stuff if I'm going to sink my teeth into a game. This game, Star Wars Dark Forces, 1995. This This game was the first-person shooter Star Wars game. It was clunky. It was old. It had no checkpoints at all. It's B. It's B. It's B for now. Subject to change in 20 minutes. But it's B for now. Great game, B. Dark Forces 2, which is also called Jedi Knight. It was called Dark Forces 2 because you were still Kyle Katarn. You were the same character, but this game was about him finding out that he was a Jedi. And he got his lightsaber from his dad, and you could have lightsaber combat in the game. So you were a third person when you had a lightsaber, and you could shoot your guns in first person because it was both. It was both games. It starts off just like Dark Forces, but once you got the lightsaber, it was like, why do I want to shoot things? I have a freaking lightsaber, dude. I'll just kill them. The lightsaber combat. Okay, so basically the overarching plot of this game is there's a bunch of Sith that apparently killed your dad or something, and you have to like fight all the Sith, and there's like 5 of them, 5 or 7 Sith. And so there's a bunch of boss fights interspersed throughout the game as you progress. The boss fights are meant to be so cool, but they're so lame. I remember there was one where you fought you fought Sith twins. And so you were fighting 2 enemies at once. But the problem is, the way they made the lightsaber is it basically insta-kills if it hits. So I remember these 2 Sith twins rushed me as if they were in a hallway, as if they had to come at me one-on-one, even though it was an open playing field. It was a complete open field. So basically, first Sith twin comes at me. I slice him immediately. He dies. I quick save. Next one comes at me. I die. He got me first. Reload the save. He comes at me. I kill him. That being said, like, good attempt, good early game, good start to lightsaber combat in games, because I think this was the first lightsaber combat game. But no, I'm actually going to rank it below Dark Forces 1. It's going to be a C for me. It's so good, but it's so bad at the same time. And the boss fight, like, it hypes up these Sith, right? But then they all in-game pretty much do the same thing, and you just kill them. Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. This was actually an expansion pack. This wasn't a full game, so I crazily put it in here, even though it's not a full game. It's just an expansion pack to Jedi Knight. That's all it is. Same exact combat, same exact everything. However, now this is important. This is Mara Jade. This is Luke Skywalker's wife, by the way. The extended universe, the expanded universe before Disney, was in love with Mara Jade. For multiple reasons. Obviously, every Star Wars boy was like, damn, she kind of hot though. But every like Star Wars fan in general was like, dude, Luke Skywalker's wife? Pog? What? And also, okay, so for those who don't know, there was an era of Star Wars books where every author was making a wife for Luke, essentially. The authors were all writing their own thing, because Star Wars was kind of Wild West at that time of the book franchise, and they would write characters for Luke Skywalker to inevitably marry. He wouldn't marry them in the books, but he would be like, damn, she kind of hot though. I would date her. And then they would end the book, and they would leave it up to the readers, like the kind of fan consensus as to which woman the fans picked. It was a weird time. There were some weird girlfriends that Luke Skywalker had. This man, for being a farm boy in the movies, is an absolute player in the books that I don't understand. One of his girlfriends was literally an AI, like sentient AI ghost, force ghost that controlled an entire fleet with her mind or something. It was some wacky shit. Mara Jade was the first woman that was written for Luke, actually. So she was the first one and also the winning one, because she was just a good character in general. Now, I mean, not only was she physically attractive, but she actually had a story that was like engaging. She was originally the Emperor's hand, it was called. So she was like she was a Sith underling, basically, and she would assassinate targets for Palpatine. So she had all the skills of a trained assassin as well as all the basic Force skills of a Sith. Her final mission by Palpatine before Palpatine dies in episode 6 was to kill Luke Skywalker. So Palpatine died without rescinding that order. So in her mind, kill Luke Skywalker was the only thing that mattered. She eventually becomes a Jedi, obviously, and she's like the most one of the most badass Jedis in my opinion. Obviously, everyone has their own favorites, but the fact that she was able to still retain all the skills of an assassin and all the skills non-force power related as well as force power skills, like, Jedi are awesome, but a lot of them can only use the Force, and they're kind of helpless without it. Mara Jade doesn't have Force for some reason. Doesn't have the Force for some reason. She just kills the person anyway. She's also more willing to do the things that Luke Skywalker won't. She's kind of used in that role. So yeah, she's cool. She's really cool. So anyway, the reason I bring her up, obviously, is because she's in this game. You don't play as Mara Jade, but you play alongside Mara Jade as Kyle Katarn still. And so this is Mara Jade's only appearance, to my knowledge, in the Star Wars game universe, actually. Let's take a break from the Jedi Knight series for the moment and move to a different one. Shadows of the Empire was Star Wars' first attempt at... And what's weird about this game is I barely even remember playing it, so I may not have actually played the entire thing, to be honest. Multimedia project, yes. It was Star Wars' first attempt to, like, kind of please all the fans at once, in a way, by releasing a game, a book, a comic. What else did they have? Soundtrack? Trading cards? Role-playing games? Posters? Model kits? Toys? Okay, they released a lot more at the same time than I thought. Shadows of the Empire introduces a character called Dash Rendar. He never appears again because who cares, to be honest. But he was a smuggler guy and did some cool stuff. He's pretty neat. He was in the book. The book was actually good. I read the book and that was actually good. Anyway, Shadows of the Empire, definitely a D for me, to be honest. I'm sorry, dude. The book was good, but the game itself was utter trash, in my opinion. It was so lazy. Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a game that was only released on the PlayStation 2, and I played it over at my friend's house one time. It is a weird, weird game. Basically, it was like you were fighting across the arenas of war in the Clone Wars, right? Like, as the title would indicate. You would play as, like, a tank, you would play as a walker, you would play as a gunship, you know, standard stuff. You would sometimes play as a Jedi. So I think you play as Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, or Anakin at various points. Now, the weird part about it, the reason I call it a weird game, is because everything is vehicle-based, and then there's just specific levels where you're given a Jedi to play as. When you're playing the Jedi, you feel like you're still in a vehicle. If that makes any sense. Like, the controls are tanky, the character moves like a vehicle would, like measured pace, blocky, kind of turning at 90-degree angles. Fun game for an afternoon. But it's gotta be a D for me. It's C. No, I have too many C's, and also it is below Jedi Knight, I believe. No, it's gotta be a C because it's actually not below X-Wing. You know what? I think I'm gonna insult. No, it's staying as a C. It's staying as a C. That's what I took my hand off the cursor. It's chess rules. I gotta go with it. Star Wars Super Bombad Racing. Let me get a bigger image of the title. It's like a bobblehead Darth Maul, pod racing a Gungan, pod racing Yoda. That's the type of game we're looking at here. It's a stupid game. It's a stupid game. It's basically Super Mario Bros. Wait, what's that called? I forget the name because I'm not cultured and I haven't really played Nintendo games, but it's like that game where you race. What is it called? How do I not know this? This is the most basic gaming knowledge. Mario Kart. Mario Kart. I'm so stupid. It's Mario Kart. It's a meme game. That's all I can really say about it. Because of the meme, because of the effort they put in, it's gonna be a B for me. It's so stupid that I'm even rating it that highly, but I have to do it because it's just so dumb. Let's go back to the Jedi Knight series. Remember the one with Mara Jade, Kyle Katarn, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. Then we get to Jedi Knight 2. By the way this series is named is kind of like Windows operating system, like Windows 98, Windows XP, Windows 2000 EX, Windows Vista. Like, what the hell is going on? And now we're on Windows 11. What is even happening? Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, and now it's Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is the full name of the game. Dark Forces is gone. It's now, the series is now called Jedi Knight, but it's Jedi Knight 2, even though it's the third game. And then the name is just Jedi again, but with Outcast at the end of it. Like, what is... I don't even know who came up with these names. But Jedi Outcast has got to be... And this may surprise you. Jedi Outcast is an instant S tier, baby! S tier game! One of the best games I've ever played. Unironically. This game is sick. This game is a old piece of shit, but let's pull it up. This is the first level of the game. I'm charging up my pistol. He's dead. This, by the way, is my companion. If she dies, I lose the game. That is what loses this game points, in my opinion. I do not like companions that can die and end the game. But regardless, all right, let's go. If this game was released in an era where Steam counter tracked how many hours you'd played of a game, I would be in trouble. Because I think I played well over like 300, 400 hours of this game. I knew that guy was there. Now there's going to be two guys here. There's going to be one on the top, and I have to shoot the explosives to hopefully kill the guy that's hiding behind them. Did it kill him? No, it didn't. He backed away. Wait, before I go into mods are pretty freaking sick. But this game, on its own, even modless, is still one of the most entertaining games you'll ever play. Because console. It has a developer console. This is the first game I actually learned about developer consoles even being a thing in games. This was more like my intro to PC gaming, essentially. And this console can do anything. This console, by typing in help us OB1, get it? It enables cheats, which you can then give lightsaber. Unknown item. Oh, wait, was it give all? That's what I did, give all. I don't know what lightsaber is because I always just gave all. Why would you do anything less? So here we go. This is a sniper. A sniper. A Wookiee bowcaster, an Imperial heavy repeater, electromagnetic pulse gun, flechette gun, missile launcher, thermal detonator, I'm gonna die, trip mines, detonation packs, stun baton, lightsaber. Lightsaber automatically puts you to third person, but you can play in first person if you want. Through a simple toggle. You don't even have to go into the menu. You can change lightsaber styles. There's fast, medium, slow. Apparently now I only have fast unlocked. Let's do another cheat. Set force all 3. Each force power gets ranked up to rank 3 throughout the entire game, so I just set them all to 3 just now. You have force push, force pull, mind trick, grip, which is choke, lightning, heal, speed. Speed is amazing. You go faster. Everything else goes slower. Simple. Do I have all my lightsaber? Yep, I have all of them. So there's medium style, fast style, strong style. Strong style is the best because there's a big move where you overhand while backing up and you slice down, and it insta-kills people. It's fucking amazing. Basically what I would do when encountering enemies... Hold on. Let me spawn one in real quick. Yes, you can do that. Let me type in no target first, so none of the enemies target me right now. And let's NPC spawn Reborn. That's the Sith in the game, essentially. Now, let me turn no target off and let me fight him. He's gonna fight me now. With the regular lightsaber style, fast, you can fight him for a while. And also, there's actual... He's dead. Basic Reborn are pretty easy. That's why. Shadow Trooper. There he is! These are the harder versions of the Sith. They can cloak. They have more health. They're better AI, actually. They can throw their lightsabers like that. He dropped it. He had to force pull it back. You can do that in-game, by the way. He's gonna kill me, probably. Oh! Nope. Nope. It looks like the game's set on an easier difficulty. I might be able to pull this out. By the way, whichever direction I'm pressing on the keyboard does a different lightsaber move. Also, jumping can change what happens. So the lightsaber combat's actually pretty advanced for what it is. Though it ends up basically being mashing keys. I imagine it might be a little easier with a controller, but I never played with that. You can jump on someone, knock him down like I just did. I've hit him a few times, but he has hit me a few times. I just threw my lightsaber with right click. Forgot I could do that until just now. It was muscle memory. I just got hurt bad. I slashed his lightsaber away. Let's force push him. He blocked it with force push as well. You can do that. Hit him again. Hit him again! Force pull him. Go! That is using force powers to your advantage, ladies and gentlemen. I have 2 health. Let's use the strong lightsaber style. He attacked me right away. That's not fair. Okay, we're on strong now. I'm just going to use... He started to force choke me. You can force push to get out of it. Okay, so let's do the backup attack. He's being sussy right now. Holy crap, dude. He is spamming those force attacks. Okay, back up while slicing down. Back up while you have to be accurate. It's a game of like, will he charge fast enough, you know? Because sometimes I'm just trying to catch him in this as he pursues me, essentially. He's probably gonna kill me. Am I actually gonna lose with the lightsaber style that I'm proclaiming is better? Surely not. Got him! That's how we do it. See what I'm telling you? Strong lightsaber style is so good. You literally just back up. There's none of this jumping around, which is admittedly less fun. I think I would rather use other lightsaber styles. They're more fun, technically. But strong lightsaber style, you just back up, wait for him to rush, and then you slam him. It takes like 2 strikes because it does so much damage to instantly kill anybody. I remember what I would do is I would essentially spawn a million different guys. Let's just spawn a ton of guys. Now let's spawn some Jedi. And let's watch them go at it. Fly _ X-Wing. I'm so close with these, but I forget like one thing. Here we go. We're in an X-Wing now. By the way, this isn't in game at all. This is not a thing. But for some reason, and obviously I did it inside, so I'm stuck already. But you can fire missiles and die. Let's see if it works better outside, actually. It does not. Holster your lightsaber, it says. And then the destroyer. I remember this cheat code. I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. Probably not real, though. Yeah, it's not real. It says it has to be a multiplayer map. Did I never do this? Is this actually a part of the game? I'm actually so... I'm derailing the stream a little bit because I just discovered something that I don't think I've ever done. This would be insane. This would be... Map? Masasi Temple? Is that what it's called? No. What is a multiplayer map called? This is a multiplayer map. This can be accessed from the single player seamlessly. Insane, unheard of in games nowadays, by the way. Like, what game do you even know that you can just switch to multiplayer and single player seamlessly? That's insane. If this doesn't work after everything... I remember this, though. I remember this pissing me off so much. When the map loads, select your lightsaber, then holster it. Then type the destroyer in the console window with a slash, apparently, which I don't think makes any sense. None of the other cheat codes are in that format. Select your lightsaber, holster, the destroyer. It doesn't fucking do anything, game. Game, why are you telling me this? It does not work! Okay, that's at least... It's a little disappointing to me, but it's encouraging to know that that people online are just as stupid now as they were back then. Because I remember everybody would always say, "Oh, dude, you just type in the destroyer in console, you get a double-bladed lightsaber. You're gonna love double-bladed lightsaber. That's the best part of the game." It doesn't fucking work. Chat, the game just crashed. It's good. I was done with it anyway. There are definitely like well over like 300 mods for that game. There was so much. S rank game. Jedi Academy. This is Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy. This one is the only game in the series where you create your own Jedi and you play as that Jedi instead of playing as Kyle Katarn. The rest of the series you played as Kyle Katarn. That character was popular enough to actually be put into books and comics and everything. But this you play as insert Jedi name here. This game is a lot of fun. Jedi Academy is a lot of fun. You go to a lot of different places. It's very similar to Jedi Outcast. The only thing that knocks it down points for me, and this is not at all fair to the game at all. Like, I should be writing this S, right? Because it's the same exact game, but a little newer. But I have to put it at an A, which sounds like a downgrade. Still a very solid game. Still a game I highly recommend playing. But I have to put it at an A simply because of the fact that I kind of liked playing as Kyle Katarn. I don't really like playing as my own character. I'm sorry. I don't think my no-name Jedi is as cool as Kyle Katarn, who has his own lore and backstory. Also, more to the point, my personal experience of the game was that I played it on console. I played Jedi Academy on console, where you have none of the cheat codes, none of the mods, and it runs like shit. I mean, comparatively to a PC, of course. So PC, if I had played Jedi Academy, if two things. If I had played Jedi Academy first before Jedi Outcast, I would probably rank it S and be shitting on Jedi Outcast right now. But that's not the case. I played Jedi Outcast first and Jedi Academy second. The other thing is, if I'd played Jedi Academy on console or on PC, I would probably rate it way higher. I would probably rate it S. Because it has the same cheats, it has the same everything. But I gotta rank it a little lower. I feel like after talking about Jedi Knight series so much, I need to obviously mention Jedi Fallen Order, which is EA's kind of reboot, soft reboot. It's not Kyle Katarn, but it's like a new Jedi that you play as, you know. Jedi Fallen Order is similar to, I would call it like Dark Souls-ish combat. It's not like hard, but it's that same kind of like framework, mechanics-wise. Fun game. Surprisingly, for an EA game, for a new game that I usually don't prefer the new games compared to the old, but Jedi Fallen Order is a good game. I am hoping for the next game that they don't phone it in and just kind of bank on the success of the last one. I hope they actually innovate, because just playing the same game again wouldn't be very much fun, to be fair. And that's probably what they're going to do, because it's EA. But if it's up to Respawn to determine what the game is, it'll be great. If EA hones in and tries to force them to do their thing, it's going to suck. But whatever. Jedi Fallen Order is good. Plot was actually good. Like, I actually enjoyed the plot legitimately. And there's definitely good stuff to be had in it. Should we talk about Lego Star Wars? I think we got to talk about Lego Star Wars next. You can't tell me that they're not some of the best games ever made. You cannot tell me that. You cannot come up to me and say, Lego Star Wars, overrated. No. You know, if somebody does come up to me and say Lego Star Wars isn't the best franchise ever created, I will disassemble them. I will disassemble them with the... I will disassemble them. I will rebuild them into someone who loves Lego Star Wars, because that's what Lego Star Wars means to me. I can build anything. I freaking love it. Lego Star Wars is the best game ever made. I don't even know how to describe the Lego games. Do I even have to describe the Lego games? We all know what the Lego games are. The Lego games... Let's start with... I divided them into 3 games. So there's Lego Star Wars 1, which is episodes 1, 2, 3. There's Lego Star Wars 2, which is the original trilogy. There's Lego Star Wars 3, which is Clone Wars. That's a more recent one. I put that one on there for a particular reason. You'll see why. Obviously, there's complete sagas, there's collections, there's remake, but S rank easily. The game is bigger than the actual box that it can fit in, which just fits... Which actually, I did not do intentionally, but unironically fits the Lego game meta very well. It doesn't even fit in the box that it's supposed to be contained in. Much like a Lego set doesn't fit the box after you've assembled it one time. You're not getting it back in that box. Lego Star Wars 2, I put on there just so I could talk about how much they evolved from Lego Star Wars 1. They actually innovated. They added other things. The levels were bigger. The bricks were louder. The studs were more pick-upable. And then Lego Clone Wars. This is an adaptation of the Clone Wars animated series, for those who don't know. I will rank this as A, only because it's a symptom of Lego games now, is that they're a little bit more glitchy. There's a little less care put into them. There's a little more potential for game-breaking bugs, crashes. It's a more subdued Lego experience. It's a little bit murky because of the glitches they've added. But Clone Wars is still A, even with the glitches, because it has the damn best co-op mechanic I've ever seen in any game ever made. Somehow, even after all this time, with all these other games that have come out since, Lego Star Wars 3 is still innovating. How? How are the Lego games still innovating better than AAA titles? How? Lego Star Wars 3 has a mechanic where if you separate from your partner, if you walk away, you're on one screen like a normal Lego game, but if you walk away, it goes into split screen, like all Lego games, but it goes into split screen not horizontal, not vertical, but like diagonal. Diagonal split screen. There's no black space on the screen. Every inch, every pixel of the screen is utilized for your entire playtime. The split screen divider dynamically changes based on how far away you are from your partner, where you are in the game, what environment you're in. You always see fully wherever you are, as well as your partner being able to see. Best split screen feature I've ever seen. More games need to do it. Force Unleashed 1, incredible game. You can, essentially, the idea of the game is, yeah, a Jedi have these force powers, right? Imagine those force powers, but without limits. Without, like, having to, like, power balance. Without being like, oh, it wouldn't make sense for a Jedi to freaking bring down a ship here with just his hand. That would be stupid. Like, there has to be some stakes. Other characters other than Jedi and Sith have to have some kind of agency to be able to act in the world. Force Unleashed says, fuck that. Let's make every Jedi overpowered as hell. Let's unleash the Force. That's what Force Unleashed is. A-tier game. The only thing that holds Force Unleashed back is that it's a short game. So it doesn't have too much content. There's no multiplayer whatsoever. There's a Nintendo Wii version, which I actually should have put on here. It's also called The Force Unleashed. And it's basically, think Smash Bros, but with Star Wars characters. And also shitty controls, because it's Wii. That would be D tier if I were to put it on here. And also the plot of Force Unleashed 1 is absolutely incredible because for those who don't know, the main character's name is Star Killer, and he essentially is Darth Vader's apprentice, and he ends up turning into a good guy. For those who don't know, originally Luke Skywalker's name in the original script for Star Wars was Luke Star Killer. So that would have been a terrible name, admittedly. But reusing that name for another character in the Star Wars universe, especially in a game as ridiculous as Force Unleashed, is absolutely, like, on point. Force Unleashed 1, you have a power called Force Repulse, which is force push in all directions. Force Unleashed 2, you have Force Repulse, but it disintegrates everything for some reason. It basically just amped up everything and made it better. Force Unleashed 1, big moment, is where you bring down a fucking Star Destroyer with your mind. Force Unleashed 2, big moment, is the entire game. But it's a lot shorter than Force Unleashed 1 also. For those who didn't see, let me just show the trailer. Let me just show one of the trailers for Force Unleashed 2. I think this will sum up my opinion better than anything I could say. Rated T for teen. So reason I show that is because, yes, that was in fact Darth Vader getting pushed through 7 walls. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about it. Incredible games, insane games, over-the-top games. Star Wars Republic Commando. This game, oh my god. Okay, this game is incredible. This game is like a tactical shooter. This game is the best first-person shooter that has ever been made in Star Wars. Also, most Star Wars games you play as a Jedi. No, not this one. You play as a squad of badass clone commandos. This is a pretty inspiring, like, game. It kind of pulls that, I don't know, it pulls at something inside you, I guess. That, like, is like, yeah, damn, these commandos are cool. And these commandos have, like, a camaraderie that is notable. And this music is perfect. Perfect for the game. I'm going to rate it S tier, easily. S tier, I played it so much. It's such a short game, but it's so fun. The only thing that would make it better, you know what? Nah, damn. I have to rate it A tier, actually. I have to rate it A tier because of one thing. And I'm running out of room in A tier. The one thing about Republic Commando is that it's not co-op at all. And if this game was co-op, it would be S tier. But it's not. It's single player only. Imagine fighting as a clone squad, 4-player. Yes, you see that? That's custom painted, custom sanded. This is what one of them looks like in the game. I made the entire squad in Lego form. Public Commando, good. A tier. Should have had multiplayer. Star Wars Battlefront. I think everybody's pretty much heard of this game. You can play as on pretty much any planet, any fight, any faction. You can play throughout any timeline. You can play Galactic Civil War, Clone Wars. Yeah, that's the only two. I made it sound like there was more. That's it, though. Imagine, like, I don't know, 12v12 or 16 versus 16, whatever it was. At the time, like players fighting each other in the Star Wars universe. Some of you can unlock heroes where you can play. Oh, wait, no. You cannot. And then we're talking about Battlefront 1 here, not Battlefront 2. You can play as characters, and you can fight heroes. You can fight Jedi or Sith that come onto the battlefield. They're harder to kill. They're very hard to kill, actually, and you have to eventually, probably confront them or avoid them to win. And whoever exhausts their tickets, it's like Battlefield. It's Battlefield. Whoever exhausts the tickets of the other team, the reinforcements, wins. And you exhaust the tickets more if you kill people, obviously, or if you have more command posts than the other team. For a lot of people, it's an A-tier game, but for me, it's a B-tier game because it's Battlefront 1. Let's move on real quick to Battlefront 2 before people get pissed at me. Battlefront 2, S-tier. S-tier game. Battlefront 2, S-tier game. Everybody forget that I rated Battlefront 1 B-tier. Battlefront 2 now. We're talking Battlefront 2. You can remember how I said you could fight heroes and villains? Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. This one, you can play as them. You unlock them and you play as them. If you're top leader of the game or whatever settings they set, you could play as Jedi or Sith or Boba Fett or Han Solo or whatever was for that map. You could play as that hero. You felt super powerful. You had a limited time. You had to keep killing to increase your health, so it wasn't like you could just play it forever. It wasn't super unbalanced because everybody was gunning for you and because your health was on a constant countdown. But if you were good enough, it wasn't a straight countdown where you would just by default lose possession of that hero after a set amount of time. No, that would be lame. What you actually do is if you kill enough people, you gain health back. So if you're fast enough, but the countdown does get quicker, like your health does decrease faster. So it's balanced. It's balanced, it's skill-based, but it's not too over the top. Where like if you're top player, you're not gonna like just crush everybody else. It was actually the one game that I played Xbox Live on the Xbox Original. I got a free month trial of Xbox Original or Xbox Live, sorry, for Xbox Original with this game. So I used that 1 month free trial, and before my trial expired, they removed Xbox Live from Xbox Original. They shut it down. So I never even got to pay for Xbox Original, Xbox Live, because it was gone before it even started, for me. But it was a lot of fun. I played with a bunch of people online. I have a lot of weird memories from that time because I would play on the TV in the living room, and I didn't have a mic or anything. I was a kid. So I would have everybody on speakers. So they were all talking about like balls or whatever the hell in my living room. And my parents were like, what is this? My dad was like, these guys are great, but why are they talking about ball sweat? A lot of good moments in Battlefront 2. I haven't even talked about PC yet. Let's dive into that. These are all AI. These obviously aren't players. That was the strength of Battlefront 2, for the record, is that there were people in the game if it was a multiplayer game, but there were also AI always. There were like 32 AI, I think, that could spawn on the map at any given time on either side. So the AI are pretty stupid in this game, notoriously stupid. By the way, parts of the map, you can do this. You can sprint across and barely make that jump. That's something that's only true veterans know. I just put the health back where I couldn't get it. Sad. This is the list of maps. Look at this. You can queue up for any of them at any time. You can select different game modes in each map. You can select different eras. You can change so many settings. All of these. Let's rank up the AI units on screen or on the team at one time to 32. So that's a bigger map. Has the potential to crash, but you know, it is what it is. There used to be multiplayer. I think it still exists in some limited form, but it's not. It's a shadow of its former self, unfortunately. Now, the thing about this, right, is this character has mines that he can place on the ground, like this. People walk across them. They're not very good mines, admittedly, because they can be very clearly seen. They're very visible. That is exactly what they look like to enemies as well. They have that red glow around them. Command posts, blue for your team, right? Well, it looks red to the enemy team because they're the enemy. So you put a mine in the center, like right like that. And that red glare to the enemy is not visible because it's a red command post. What you do is mines. Mines on the front of the snowspeeder. And then you take off. And I think you see where this is going already. Normally, it would take a while to kill an ATST, or AT-AT, because obviously, like, you have limited guns. But if you just ram them... That is now dead. It will slowly fall. Let's watch it fall. There, it's dead. And I can now play as Pilot Luke. Let's go! Yes, yes, that was... Because mines do so much damage, and you can put up to 3 on your snowspeeder, you just ram them in the neck. You do have to ram them in the weak point, however. If you ram them anywhere else, it won't insta-kill. So it is still skill-based. Once I realized that PC had mods, I was like, holy shit. There's no way I'm not playing this. This is Capital Down. That's what the mod is called. It's a series of maps. Essentially, the concept is there's a downed capital ship in the center of the map, and there's a lot more AI. There could be potentially 100 AI on the field at one time. So imagine the battles of Battlefront 2, but bigger. Bigger and more unstable, potentially, because it crashes. But look at what's happening here. There is so much. This is bigger than most modern games. The thing that makes Battlefront S tier for me, Battlefront 2 particularly, that's General Grievous. What the fuck? Let's kill General Grievous. He's dead. The thing that makes this game so good is that it does something that most modern games should take note of, and Titanfall is the most recent game I can think of that actually does this. Adding AI units to a multiplayer match. Even if you're playing in a multiplayer match against just your friend, just 1v1, you still have all these AI that can take part in the battle. It doesn't feel empty. It feels like a Star Wars battle authentically every time. You can fight enemy frigates. You can shoot. We can destroy this capital ship. Yes, excellent. Land. We're in the enemy ship now. We can fight people on the ground. We can go into the inner bits of the ship. You will see something that you may not have wanted to see. This is what the mods end up getting to. They can play as hippies. Or the police. Let's play as hippies. Hippie chick. Yeah, sure. Oh my god. Also, Twitch don't DMCA me for this because this is all Beatles songs, and I would rather not be copyright struck by the Beatles. Anyway, this is a mod of sorts. That's a police car that just drove past me. Welcome to Strawberry Fields. Let's drive a police car? I don't really know what to say about this. You can kind of just see. What is that? Pick up the Jawa? What Jawa? What are you talking about? And what are you firing? So this guy made a few maps like this. Possibly shouldn't have done that, because I'm sure he broke many kids' minds, and it just feels like an acid trip the entire time you're playing it. That's Battlefront 2. After what I've shown you, after the sheer amount of mods, the community, the gameplay mechanics themselves, the exploits that people find, the massive multiplayer, S tier easily. If there was a rank above S tier, as a matter of fact, imagine it's higher. Imagine it's higher. It feels like heresy to rate it above Lego games in a way. But I guess admittedly, if Lego games had mods, it would be equivalent. So what I'll say is Battlefront 2 deserves to be an S tier. With mods, it's above, but as a base game, it's S tier. Still. Many hours, again, way too many hours in that game. Let's move on. EA made 2 Battlefront games as well. Confusingly named Battlefront and Battlefront 2, just like the old ones. They are not the same games, but it's a reboot of the series. It's trying to play on, like, you know what I just said about it being like my childhood, my whole thing. Obviously, EA is playing on that a little bit and saying, like, trying to draw out nostalgia again. The thing is, Battlefront is not anywhere close to what the original Battlefronts were. This game is microtransactions. This game is... You know when I said you could play as heroes for a certain amount of time? and you could increase that time by killing people. In this one, it's just a set amount of time, I believe. And it's also, you get the heroes by picking up a fucking token. You don't get it through player skill. You get it through random loot drops or whatever the fuck. I hate this game. This game is D tier. This game is D tier, even though it's a beautiful game. If you look at the actual game, it's very pretty. But it's D tier because of what EA has done to the series. I don't know what they were thinking. Well, I know what they were thinking. Money. Okay, Battlefront 2 they made as well. This game, at first, also D tier. Nothing was changed. It was even worse. I think somebody calculated out how much you would have to spend to get every item in the game. It was like thousands of dollars. And that's if you're lucky. If you get the loot box right. So, but after the game was out for a while, EA has removed all microtransactions from the game. They have also added maps as new movies came out. They've added maps for the new sequel trilogy as they came out. They've added DLC that's free. Everything in the game is free now. They've added so much content. It's very fun now. Actually B tier. Actually B tier now. It went up 2 ranks. That's pretty significant, especially for a Star Wars game. Again, I'm saying all these games are very competitive. They're all very good and vying for top spots compared to each other because they're well above most video games. Also, when you fight as heroes in either of the Battlefront games, it kind of feels like smashing action figures together less than actually fighting. Like, admittedly, the originals kind of felt like that too, but there was some strategy for how to fight. This one is just like, it's also balanced, I guess, is the downfall. They tried to balance the games too much, which is weird to say. It's kind of counterintuitive. You want balance to be in games, but when you balance them so much, you make every single hero and class feel the same and feel like it's not any more viable than any other class, and that you can't actually, there's not much of a skill ceiling. Like, you kind of, if you played for 10 minutes, you know how to play EA Battlefront. There's none of the things I mentioned in the original Battlefront, like putting mines on your snow speeder. As much as that is cheap to do, at least there's some kind of like learning involved. Like the community evolves, the game changes. The community is not going to change EA's Battlefront. That game will be the same today as it was when it was released in terms of play style. But I will say, Battlefront 2 is very pretty. It's very fun to play for like an hour or two, every so often. It's not a game that I would jump into all the time, but it's fun enough, and there is some legitimately good moments that you can have in it. Star Wars Empire at War. For those who don't know, Star Wars Empire at War, command and conquer game, strategy game. Basically, yeah, it's like StarCraft. You're controlling your characters, telling them where to go, building your units, building bases, fighting. There's multiplayer. It's sick. Empire at War itself is B tier. Empire at War Forces of Corruption, which is not a full game but an expansion to Empire at War, and you now buy them in a I think it's called the Gold Edition, so they're both included together now. They're both the same game. Empire at War Forces of Corruption, A tier. Reason I say that is I need to move over. Force Unleashed. I need to make some room here. Forces of Corruption improves the core mechanics of Empire at War. Basically, it speeds everything up. It adds a third faction, adds new features, new units, just kind of improves the game. So Empire at War originally probably B tier because it's kind of limited and slow. You kind of have to wait a lot. In multiplayer matches is what I'm talking about, by the way. You can always speed up time just like any RTS. So you have Empire, you have Rebel Alliance. You also have, in Forces of Corruption, you have the Zon Consortium, which is essentially not a good or evil faction. It's a corrupt faction. It's like imagine like mercenaries. And they're basically, their power is to influence and bribe and blackmail the other faction. So a lot of their abilities are based on turning enemy units to their side, or sabotaging systems, or putting spies in. It's really fucking cool. There's space combat. There's actual space battles. There's land battles. There's, again, multiple planets, multiple vehicles, units, animals that can fight you, like Rancors and stuff like that. There's a full campaign for both games. You can fight Grand Admiral Thrawn in the game. Grand Admiral Thrawn is a Imperial Empire guy. He's basically hyper intelligent, plans ahead, thinks he's a strategist. He studies the art of other cultures in order to understand that culture. Fighting him in an RTS game is the perfect thing to add, because obviously RTS is like, you know, the thinking man's game. So fighting the ultimate thinking man as an enemy is like, damn, I'm gonna get destroyed. And he does. He lives up to like his lore. Like he actually, like, when you first meet him, I think he like destroys like 3 of your planets or whatever. Like he takes them over really quickly. Like it's a really hard part of the campaign. You have to fight this guy and push him back, and he's like taking all the planets that you've slowly conquered over the campaign within seconds. Also, there's a Death Star in the game, so you can just straight up build a Death Star as the Empire and just destroy a planet. If you don't feel like doing a land battle for that planet, you just destroy it. Connect Star Wars is we may all be familiar with it. Let me just show exactly what Connect Star Wars is. This game is, I mean, it's memes. It's memes. This is one of the game types in it. All the other game types are forgettable and suck. If you're one of the 2 people in the world that still owns an Xbox Connect, yeah, go ahead and give it a try. I absolutely love Connect Star Wars. It's a meme game. It's a meme game. A rank. A rank. I can't rate it S. I cannot do that. It's a meme game. It's lucky it even made it into A tier. By all rights, in terms of like comparing gameplay, this is a D tier game. But I'm rating it A tier because it's Connect. It's Connect Star Wars. The Knights of the Old Republic series. Coder is basically fucking easily an S tier game. Like, are you kidding me? What is that? What do you even need to ask? Coder is an S tier game, like it's like Dragon Age or Mass Effect. It's like those type of games. It's set in the Old Republic, as the name would indicate, Knights of the Old Republic. It's like, what is it, like 3,000 years before any of the movies take place? So it's like that back in the time when there were like tons of Sith, tons of Jedi, all fighting in a big classic war, you know? And yeah, it's a very immersive world building, a great story, just a great story-based game. This game has one of the best twists ever made in any game ever, and that's not an overstatement. Essentially, your player character, you choose the name of your player character, you choose the appearance of your player character, as most RPGs, but midway through the game, your player character is revealed to be a lot more important than you thought, and that's all I'll say about that. Coder 2 then came out, which is you play as a different character, also amazing, also incredible, also S tier. Actually, I'm going to rate it A tier. Some people might be a little pissed that I rated it lower, but I'm rating it lower only because it actually, not all the content made it into the game, unfortunately. They were pushed for time or something, or budget. Since then, modders have restored the cut content, because it's still in the game disc file, like it's still in the files, but they just didn't release it. So the ending is very abrupt and unsatisfying because there was a lot of cut content, but that's restored now. But the game still takes a loss in that aspect. But if you like sci-fi stories that are a slow burn, even if you don't like Star Wars, go ahead and play this game, because this game is a Star Wars unlike anything you've ever seen, and it's memorable. It's definitely memorable. I even talking about it, I want to play them again, and I played them both through like three or four times. This game is on here. This is not actually a game that exists, ironically, but it might have come out at some point in time. This is a Coder remake. It was announced to come out next year, actually, but it recently got canned because apparently the studio that they hired to make it has never really fucking made a game before. Like, I don't understand. Like, they've made like 2 games, and then they were thinking about giving it to another studio. The only games they've made are like ports of other games. They've never made any. Why they would give this massive of a game to a small studio that has no way of completing it, I don't know. Also, the demo was released for this game. Internal demo, not accessible to us, but like corporate demo, so the executives could see it. And the devs said they were very happy with how it was coming along. And the hires, Disney said, that fucking took too much money and too much time, so we're not going to make the game. So it's not canceled, it's postponed, but you know damn well this game is never coming out. But I made a new category just for that game. Let's scroll down here a bit. Let's scroll down to the garbage can F tier. Let's just put that there. Let's just keep that there. And just have that sit there and fester like it certainly will. Anyway, then they released Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is still being developed. It's still constantly being updated because it's an MMO, so they constantly update this game with new content all the time. This game is essentially Knights of the Old Republic 3, but like sucky version. I'm gonna rate this B tier. I can't rate it A tier, dude. Even though I've spent, for the record, I've spent thousands of hours in Old Republic, probably. Or at least 1,000. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's so repetitive. It's an MMO. You grind. That's it. I mean, and the story itself kind of shits on the previous characters of Coder, because you basically make your own character, and you at one point kill the previous characters from the other games, and it's like, what? This guy doesn't even have a canon name in the franchise. Like, how is he? I don't understand. How is he overpowering characters that are more important than he will ever dream of being? I don't know. Star Wars: The Old Republic is a very fun game, but if you play it, you're in for a grind. I heavily advise playing it with a friend if you're going to play it. Most of it can be played with a friend. It's co-op MMO, which is a nice addition because it has a lot of voice acted dialogue and such, and that you can actually view with a friend. Now, recently the DLC that have come out have been less co-op than West and I would like, so that it gets another little minus for that. If I were to rate it now in its current state, it would be C, but since I'm rating it as a whole game, B, because a lot of it is co-op, and the story can be slow and stupid and nothing happens, or it could be awesome. There is some that's really good. The game is free, by the way. You can download the game free. But if you want a subscription, $5, $15, whatever it is, for 1 month, you get access to all the DLC that's ever been released. Everything, and you get your perks for being a subscriber. After that month, you can cancel. You then no longer have any of the perks of being a subscriber, but you retain access to all the DLC, and you can play all the DLC that's ever been released at any time. No additional charge. So, I mean, that is very generous of them to make the game in that way. You don't have to independently buy the DLC. You don't have to subscribe for the entire time you're playing the DLC. You can just subscribe for 1 month and leave it at that. It's very nice. It's a good game with a lot of caveats to why it's in B tier. So we'll leave it at that. We're on to the last game. This is a big game. Let me zoom in on this. Let me zoom in on this game so you can get a clear idea of what we're looking at here. I don't even know what this game is called. This game was so hard to track down. This is from an eBay image from a seller selling this for $12. And it's called, on the eBay listing, it's called Jedi lightsaber training game. They don't even know the name of the game. The seller doesn't even know. This game, if you Google, it's so hard to find what the heck it is. If you Google it, it doesn't come up. This was a game that I played when I was about 9 years old, maybe, at a friend's house. This is one of those games. Do you guys remember Plug and Play? Did you guys ever play Plug and Play games? This game is a plug and play game, essentially, is what it is. It doesn't have a console associated with it. It's its own thing, and it looks like the little training remote that Luke Skywalker, is blindfolded and is trying to hit with the lightsaber and stuff like that. It's that. This thing has a camera in it right here. This is the camera. It's basically Xbox Kinect or the Nintendo Wii, years before either of those things were released. I don't know how this is not more famous than it is. It literally started the camera. Well, I probably didn't start it, but it had a camera, and you would have a lightsaber with this. I don't think the eBay seller, by the way, includes the lightsaber, so you can't fucking play this game without it. But it had a lightsaber remote that you would swing, and the camera would track where you were swinging it, and it would on screen swing where you swung most of the time. Obviously, not very advanced hardware here. We're talking, it wasn't always accurate, but it tried. And so you could slice down droids, and you could fight Darth Maul. I never beat Darth Maul, by the way. As a kid, I never beat Darth Maul. I would try to play against him every time I came over to this friend's house, and he would be like, oh, this fucking game again? You want to play this game again? Literally, it has 2 levels. What are you doing? And I'm like, but I want to fight Darth Maul. You know, you could be a Jedi. You could swing your lightsaber. It was probably more Jedi feeling than the Xbox Kinect game. Because that game lets you swing a lightsaber as a Jedi too, but you don't have a physical lightsaber in your hand for that game. And you also, like, it's just not as good. It's just not as good. This game was actually super fun. This game is very special, and I've never heard anybody talk about it, and it doesn't even come up, like, when you search anything. So, and I don't even know what it's called, but it's S tier. It's an S tier game. It's easily an S tier game because you could be a fucking Jedi. And this was like, what was this? Like, early 2000s? How did they have this? How was this not more popular? How did it not? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, here's the list. We got absolute ballers like Jedi Outcast, Lego Star Wars, Battlefront 2, unnamed remote game. This is my childhood here. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I rated these and talking about these. I love all of these games. That's going to do it for the tier list. Thank you for joining.